My name is Mary May Siluna and I'm from Wanlet. And I'm going to discuss to you about the letter that Christopher Columbus wrote to Luis de Centangel regarding his first voyage. So basically, Christopher wrote this to Luis, who is an former merchant and a former official since 1478, and he had supported Columbus's proposal to the Spanish crown and helped Columbus with his first voyage financially. Columbus passed from the Canary Island to the Indies in 33 days with a fleet in which the king and queen has given him. So, by the proclamation made in the royal standard and no opposition was offered to him, he had found many islands there with innumerable people. He named the first island in which he saw San Salvador, and the second, Isla de Santa Maria de Consolacion. The next one he named Fernandina, and the fourth he named Isabella, and the fifth he named it Juana. Columbus thought that Juana was the mainland because it was extensive. He thought that it was the mainland of all the islands that he saw because it was larger compared to all the others. And for that reason, they had toured the Juana Island. But unfortunately, they weren't able to found anything except a lot of hamlets and some people whom they cannot talk to because they immediately left before they could even have the chance to talk to them or to ask them about the island itself. He went forward because he did not want to fail in finding towns and cities. But as he continued, he realized that his trip was going nowhere, so he had to stop there and just retrace his path, because if he just keep moving forward, then his time might be just wasted. So his trip was not getting any better, and he did not wish to keep moving forward because he wanted to avoid the winter season, which he will be encountering if he keeps on moving north. So he retraced his path, waiting to see a harbor that he knew or was familiar to them. And then when he got there, he sent two men to search if there was a king or a city in that island. But they didn't have any luck either. So, all they saw was just an infinity of hamlets and people without number. Columbus by then finally understood that the land was nothing more than just an island. So they went eastward to the point where it was distant than the other one. And from that cape, he saw an island 18 leagues away from the other one to the east, and he named it Española. He followed its northern coast and he kind of fell in love with the place because it was something to marvel about. It was so beautiful beyond comparison. Well, if you compare it to all the other islands that he saw, it was much more beautiful than the rest. We can see his definition in the letters. He said in his letter that it had many rivers, it was good and large, and it has highlands, which are very accessible, and it had many sierras, very lofty mountains, and it seemed to touch the sky, which is a beautiful view for Columbus. And he was told that they never lose their foliage, and as he can understand, he saw them as green and as lovely as they were in Spain when it was May. So, and there was also nightingale, which was singing, and other birds of 1,000 kinds in the month of November. There are also a lot of varieties of plants and of flowers and birds, and he just saw so many beautiful things. They were even marvelous pine groves, and it had very large tracts of cultivatable land, and there was honey, and there are birds of many kinds. And there were also a lot of fruits of great diversity, and in the interior are mines of metals, and the population is without number. So when Columbus finally found the place which in his eyes, and I guess in everyone else's, was very beautiful, he had come up with the conclusion that Hispaniola is to be marveled about, just so marvelous because of its beauty. It is just something to die for. It's something to fall in love with. It's a place wherein people could gather and just come and enjoy its beauty. So with regarding to the question, I chose the question from the outside, which is this. What does the text reveal about the operations of cultural difference, the way in which race, religion, class, gender, sexual orientation, cultural beliefs, and customs combine to form individual identity, in shaping our perceptions of ourselves, others, and the world in which we live in? So, I believe that colonialism is about, well, it's not just about conquering. It's not that they conquer for power, for money, or for fame. They conquer because they care for a certain land. They want to collide these two lands to make them as one under the government of one leader who is capable of taking care of both lands. And as they conquer one another, they pass on their cultures to each other. And I believe that in shaping our perceptions of ourselves, back then I see conquering or colonialism as a healthy competition. Unlike today in most recent days, conquering like let's take Maguindanao massacre for example. They conquer it. They killed this media men savagely, not because they care for the betterment of that land, because they want to put the land in their capable hands, but rather they wanted to conquer it because they were hungry for power and they were thirsty for wealth. No reason, no good reason at all. They just wanted the power, they just wanted the money, and that's all they could care about.